Where can we access the sources of history? Imagine holding a letter written over 500 years ago, or standing before an ancient stone inscription carved by a forgotten kingdom, or listening to an elder recount stories that have been passed down through generations. These are not just fascinating objects or stories, they are pieces of history. But where do historians find them? Do they simply search the internet? Do they travel the world? Or are these historical treasures hidden in places most people never think to look? Welcome back to Afrocentric View of History. In our previous episode, we learned who historians are and the important role they play in uncovering, preserving, and interpreting the past. Today, we'll answer another important question. Where can we access the sources of history? Why access to historical sources matters. History is built on evidence. But evidence is only useful if it can be found, studied, preserved, and understood. Historians spend years locating reliable sources before they can write books or explain historical events. Knowing where to find these sources helps students, researchers, and anyone interested in history distinguish between reliable information and unsupported claims. Whether you are researching the history of an ancient African kingdom, a local community, or your own family, the first step is knowing where to look. Let's explore the major places where historical sources can be accessed. Number 1. Archives. One of the most important places for historical research is an archive. An archive is a place where original historical documents are collected, organized, and preserved for future generations. Archives are found in almost every African country. They preserve original historical documents such as government records, treaties, maps, letters, court records, colonial reports, census records, and newspapers. Researchers studying the history of countries like Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, or Nigeria often begin their work in national archives. For example, in Nigeria, the National Archives of Nigeria has major branches in Ibadan, Enugu, and Kaduna. These archives preserve colonial records, government documents, maps, photographs, and other valuable materials that help historians reconstruct Nigeria's political, social, and economic history. Number 2. Libraries. Libraries are another important gateway to historical knowledge. Unlike archives, libraries mainly preserve published materials rather than original documents. Libraries provide access to books, journals, newspapers, theses, dissertations, and other published works that help researchers understand historical events. Across Africa, major universities maintain excellent history collections. For example, the University of Cape Town, South Africa; Makerere University, Uganda; the University of Ghana; Addis Ababa University, Ethiopia. In Nigeria, important history collections can be found at the University of Ibadan, Ahmadu Bello University, the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Obafemi Awolowo University, and the National Library of Nigeria. These libraries provide valuable secondary and tertiary sources for students and researchers. Number 3. Museums. Museums preserve the physical remains of history. When you visit a museum, you may see ancient tools, pottery, coins, weapons, clothing, sculptures, jewelry, human fossils, royal regalia, ancient manuscripts, etc. These objects are called artifacts. Artifacts reveal how people lived, what they believed, the technology they used, and the cultures they created. Museums do more than display objects, they preserve humanity's heritage and make it accessible to future generations. Across Africa, museums protect artifacts that tell the story of ancient civilizations, kingdoms, trade, technology, religion, and culture. Some famous African museums include the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, Egypt; the Iziko Museums in Cape Town, South Africa; the Nairobi National Museum in Kenya; the National Museum of Ethiopia in Addis Ababa. Nigeria also has many important museums, including the National Museum in Lagos, the National Museum in Benin City, the National Museum in Jos, and the Eze Museum in Kwara State. These museums preserve priceless artifacts such as Nok terracottas, Benin artworks, traditional regalia, and archaeological discoveries. Number 4. Archaeological sites. Archaeological sites are places where the remains of past human activity are carefully excavated and studied. Some of Africa's greatest historical treasures remain buried beneath the earth. Archaeologists continue to uncover evidence from ancient cities, settlements, royal palaces, burial grounds, and trading centers across the continent. Important archaeological sites include the Pyramids of Giza in Egypt, Great Zimbabwe in Zimbabwe, Carthage in Tunisia, Aksum in Ethiopia, Gengino in Mali. Nigeria also has internationally significant archaeological sites, including Nok in Kaduna State, Iboku in Anambra State, and Sambos Erido in Ogun State. These discoveries demonstrate that advanced societies flourished across Africa long before the modern era. Number 5. Oral traditions. Long before written records became widespread, many African societies preserved their history through oral tradition. Oral traditions are especially important in African history because they preserve perspectives that may not appear in written records. Historians compare oral traditions with archaeology and written evidence to build a more complete understanding of the past. Kings, queens, elders, praise singers, griots, royal historians, and community leaders passed important historical knowledge from one generation to another. This practice can be found across West, East, Central, North, and Southern Africa. In Nigeria, oral traditions preserve the histories of kingdoms such as Oyo, Benin, Kanambonu, and many Igbo communities. These traditions continue to be valuable historical sources when compared with archaeology and written records. Number 6. Historical monuments and heritage sites. Buildings and monuments are also valuable historical sources. Examples include ancient city walls, palaces, forts, castles, temples, churches, mosques, rock art, statues, memorials. These structures tell us about architecture, religion, politics, technology, trade, and culture. Sometimes a monument can reveal information that no written document records. They are silent witnesses to history. Across Africa, monuments and heritage sites preserve evidence of past civilizations. Examples include the Pyramids of Giza, Egypt, Great Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe, the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela, Ethiopia, the island of Gori, Senegal, the Kosubi tombs, Uganda. Nigeria also contributes significantly to Africa's heritage, with sites such as the Osonosogbo Sacred Grove, the Suka Cultural Landscape, the ancient Kano city walls, and the historic earthworks of Benin. These places help historians understand Africa's political systems, religions, architecture, technology, and cultural traditions. Number 7. Digital archives and online resources. Technology has transformed historical research. Today, millions of historical documents, photographs, newspapers, maps, and manuscripts have been digitized and made available online. Universities, museums, libraries, and archives around the world now provide digital collections that researchers can access from anywhere. However, not every website is trustworthy. Whenever using online sources, ask these important questions. Who published this information? Is the information supported by evidence? Are reliable sources cited? Can the information be verified elsewhere? Responsible historians never accept information simply because it appears online. Whether the source comes from Nigeria, Kenya, Egypt, Ghana, South Africa, or any other African country, careful evaluation remains an essential part of historical research. Accessing African history. Studying African history requires looking beyond a single source. Historians combine archaeology, oral traditions, manuscripts, colonial records, museum collections, local archives, linguistic evidence, and modern scholarship. An Afrocentric approach encourages us to value African voices and African sources alongside evidence from other parts of the world. This approach does not reject outside sources. Instead, it seeks to create a fuller, fairer, and more balanced understanding of Africa's place in human history. Every source contributes another piece to the story. In conclusion, today, we've learned that historical sources can be found in many different places. Archives preserve original documents. Libraries provide books and research materials. Museums protect priceless artifacts. Archaeological sites uncover ancient civilizations. Oral traditions keep memories alive. Monuments tell stories through architecture. And digital archives make historical research accessible to people around the world. The more sources we examine, the clearer our understanding of history becomes. If you enjoyed this lesson, please like this video, subscribe to Afrocentric View of History, and share it with others who are passionate about learning history. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep seeking evidence, and keep uncovering the remarkable story of humanity.